Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Is this ready to go? Are we ready to go?
That's right.
Sure.
Yeah, he does.
Sure.
Why not?
Look at me.
Go for it. Good turn on?
I gotta turn.
Oh, no!
Never tell, hey, this thing working? Hopefully I won't drop all of these ingredients. You have all of these wonderful love notes. You should put them in a journal. So they're all just tucked in here, and you're doing so many speeches. You're doing fantastically well. Between the numbers, what will you remember? I think that one of the things I like to do is to see what previous evaluators have said. And I think that some of these are wonderful opportunities to grow, and I think you have grown tremendously, as well as focusing on the things that you do really, really well. Anita, in her very first evaluation of your icebreaker, said that you speak with confidence and with passion, and I think you've done that consistently. Shlomo said you connected emotionally in your second speech. In your third speech, I mentioned you could use a little bit more humor, and I think sometimes that's true. Sue said, get out from behind the lectern. And I think that's a key issue for you. And I think what it is sometimes it may be rushing a little bit through the manual. And so maybe you're not as fully prepared. And I think what happens is you get married to your notes, which are back there by the lectern. And that prevents you from coming out here. You ended up holding on to the lectern, which again, I think it's the notes that keeps you from gesturing, just like this book and this microphone is keeping me from gesturing. But I definitely think that more movement, gestures, and facial expressions are some of the things that John Spirito identified in speech number 8, and I think that those opportunities for growth were in this speech as well. I would suggest, great speech title, Between the Numbers, What We'll Remember. You had a good introduction. You talked about life is not promised. That was part of your intro. I would try to avoid saying, I want to speak about. Tell us with something powerful that knocks our socks off what you are going to speak about, so that rather than introduce, that's sort of like just filler words. The thing that you talked about that I think was powerful and yet an opportunity for growth is you talked about perhaps two things. You talked about the pause button on your busy life to take time. And then you also talked about how can you make a difference. The one thing that I thought is perhaps you're making an assumption that there may not already be some people here that, well, maybe they're like Frank, they don't have that busy a life. Or perhaps they've done, maybe like Joe Jones, they've already done things that have made a difference. So I would try to connect with the possibility that for some of you, maybe you haven't done what you set out to do, when you first started, and you may be waiting for that achievement. And so therefore, it's not necessarily saying everyone, because the key ingredient to being a successful speaker is connecting with your audience. And if there's a possibility of one or two people might be saying, well, I'm already doing that, or that doesn't really interest me, then I think, again, an opportunity to be really, really powerful. But you made great progress. You're growing tremendously as a speaker. You definitely are prepared. You think long and hard about what you're going to say. And it's such an asset to have you as part of our club.